A memorable occasion happened on most Friday nights. We played Dominoes in the snug. We played with a 9 set, in pairs, sat diagonally across the table. First, though, you had to put a knock on and then wait your turn, which consisted of chalking your initials on a nearby slate. Once on the table, we played best of 3 games. You threw out for who goes down first. Then everyone picked up 7 dominoes and off we went. The losers gave 20 pence to the winning pair and left the table. I played with Grandad. Then there was Harold and Eileen, and Alan and his son Alan, and Sid and Edna. When not at the table, we all sat round on the carpet-covered benches around the wall, chatting and telling stories. We were snug regulars. Anyone else wanting to play had to sit in one of the other rooms waiting their turn. Grandad always liked to tell the tale of him being paid for a plumbing job he did for a local farmer. The farmer did not want to pay Grandad. He said, "Look, Arthur, I'll be dead soon and I'll leave you the money in my will." Sure enough, he did die, and Grandad inherited a sturdy wooden chest, which he and his brother Frank had to manoeuvre out of the farm and into their van. When they got it back to the workshop and opened it up, it was full of threepenny bits, and they had to set to and count it all out. Now the farmer owed £32, 2 shillings and 6p, making 1,546 threepenny bits required. Well, there were 1,550 in the chest, giving them precisely an interest of 1 shilling. Harold and Eileen had 2 sons, Mark and Christopher. Their stories were always about Christopher and his progress up the greasy pole. Mark never got a look in. It was always our Christopher this and our Christopher that. To be honest, we were all sick of hearing about our Christopher, and usually we took the opportunity to go to the bar or the gents, etc., to avoid having to listen. Now, Alan's son, Alan, had been a steward in the Royal Navy and on, indeed, the Royal Yacht. So we got a lot of Navy larks to listen to. Harold had always accused the 2 Allans of cheating. Not to the face, of course. He wasn't brave enough for that. So I kept myself busy trying to spot how they did it during the play, and once or twice I think I had to say, "No, Alan, you can't get away with putting a 7 on an 8. And he'd say, "Why, thank you, miss. Now I'll have to knock." Another link to Rota came with a favourite story of Sid and Edna. Sid was a retired RSM, Regimental Sergeant Major, and Edna, his second wife, spoke with a plum in her mouth and obviously thought she was a cut above the rest of us. Towards the end of the night, Sid used to bellow over to Edna, "What time's Reveille in the morning, Edna?" And Edna would always reply, "Optional, Sydney, optional." At this point, Sid always liked to put the dominoes to bed, i.e. get them back in the box. Everyone who played this little game could put 10p in the kitty, and with the dominoes face down on the table, each player would pick out a domino at random. If it was a double, they would keep it to their side, and if it wasn't, they had to place it spots up in the box. It was a good way of getting the dominoes back in the box. The player with the most doubles took the kitty. At last orders were called for, Edna would invariably get out her photo of the garden party at Buckingham Palace. In the photograph, there she was in a peach-coloured ensemble with a large chiffon hat, and Sid towered over her in his uniform. Edna always liked to tell us that they stayed at the Union Jack Club the night before and took a black cab to the palace. It was obviously a very memorable occasion in their lives. By now the photograph was showing its age, with cracks and folds here and there, doubtless caused by being in and out of Edna's handbag every Friday night for the last 15 years. All the snug regulars have now passed, except me. And when I reflect on the well-worn stories I remember, there's something to be said for those memorable occasions we all shared together.